not starting.
When markets move, Stephen E. Orr takes the chair. From the White House to Wall Street, he's spent decades at the intersection of policy, markets, and real capital. And he's seen firsthand how institutions use data behind closed doors. Now, as founder of Quasar Markets, his mission is to pull those signals into the open so everyone can see what really moves the markets. This is Stephen E. Orr, BigBeat on Wall Street. Let's filter the future live. When markets move, Stephen E. Orr takes the chair. From the White House to Wall Street, he's spent decades at the intersection of policy, markets, and real capital. And he's seen firsthand how institutions use data behind closed doors. Now, as founder of Quasar Markets, his mission is to pull those signals into the open so everyone can see what really moves the markets. This is Stephen E. Orr, BigBeat on Wall Street. Let's filter the future live.
There you go.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. I think we had a little technical difficulty there. I apologize. Here's the setup, baby. Futures are lower, volatility is higher, and the market is in a tightrope mode. And I know my man BigBeat's ready to short some silver.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. But there's a couple things going on this morning. I saw that the U.S. Mint is suspending all silver sales until they can get an attack, understand what's really going on here. If they can't understand it, then it's silliness, right? And I cannot wait to short silver. I thought about doing it in the morning before pre-market, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold off just a bit because it could be a little bit of a pump there, a little bit of nonsense going on in the morning. But get ready. Look, ZSL is on my chart. It's ready to go. I might do it before pre-market. I don't know yet, but this is beyond asinine at this point. So I love it.
And as I've put up on the screen, today is a tweet analysis day if we've ever had one. You're going to have the Supreme Court ruling. You've got Greenland. You've got the president just left and right tossing stuff out, and he's getting ready to head to Davos, as you've spoken about. Gold and silver all over the news. Bitcoin and crypto holding up so far. Rates dropping. Steve, mortgages yesterday was the best day for the mortgage business in 4 years.
Look, there's a lot going on here in the markets, and I think people are just literally concerned that we don't have clarity, including the Clarity Act itself has now been delayed, right? There's just so much going on that it's really starting to
Yeah, and it's
affect trading.
it's the old from the movie Dogs. It's raining dogs and cats, and they're getting together. Because you've got Elizabeth Warren on CNBC saying, "Let's go, Donald. Let's get some of these banking things in line. Let's make things affordable." And the White House called her, said, "Okay, let's get it. Let's get together. Let's have some
No,
coffee."
listen, I'm okay with that.
I love it. I think it's what
I think
that's
it's
what
great.
you want. I mean that's what you want in theory. Except with those two, I can't. I would love
Those
to be
two
in
are gonna
that
walk
room.
out. If I see those two making out and holding hands, walking out of the White House, I'm probably gonna look out. I'm probably gonna grab a big parka living in Florida and probably go hiding under a palm tree somewhere. I mean, this is just getting crazy. The world's getting crazy. It's upside.
Yeah.
We live in some interesting times, as we always say, right? But these interesting times can be places where we make money. And I've been crushing this. I'm up 12% already this year. 12% on my trading portfolio. Why?
Yep,
Because I'm betting
absolutely.
against everything. Yeah.
Pre-market looks risk off. Futures are red. VIX is up $17.18. So it was down really low yesterday, as we said. See, so volatility creeping in. Steve, where do you want to start? We've got earnings, we've got tariffs, we got geopolitics. Where are we going?
Well, let's start with the one I picked out yesterday. I had two big picks yesterday, and the first one I picked out was Netflix at 88. That was a great buy. They're going about 91 now, and Meta. Well, why? Why did I pick Meta and Netflix? Well, people they're scared. Usually stay home. They're watching TV, they're watching their Netflix, and they are probably got their Oculus on their head, or they are playing on Facebook or Instagram, and they don't really they're burying their heads in the sand. And the truth of the matter is, it is definitely yeah, there you go. Right. Exactly, Doc. Wild Wednesday morning. That's most definitely. And look, as traders, I love this. I absolutely love volatility. Volatility makes us money, the ups and downs. And if you make a mistake, you go the wrong way, just hold on to it. It goes right back the other way 5 minutes later.
Well, so, wait. We always tell people don't make a scalp into a long-term hold.
That's correct.
A lot of trouble. So let's
right now it's easy. I mean, like yesterday,
ZSL. I just want to make sure we're consistent and we are giving the right advice to people. Don't.
Yeah, no. Of course, we don't want nothing. No trade should ever become an ownership position, right? None, including ZSL, which I tell you all the time.
Yeah, do not silver. You bring that up. I was on social media, unfortunately, last night in some groups that I'm in, and there were crypto groups that were talking about silver, and everybody's now jumping into the silver trade. And I'm pointing out, $100 is very close to the 100,000 Bitcoin price. We got there, and then what happened? We got to 20,000, then what happened? Yeah. So be careful out there. What goes up comes down, and history has never been wrong, right? Nothing's ever just gone.
And history is not kind to silver. It's never been, or net gas.
Because it loses faith. Yeah, right. It does. And again, listen, I like I said, I'm telling you, it's still got 10% upside. So I'm not, jumping for the exits yet. I'm just saying, you want to be taking profit, because what it is I see the same people who didn't take profit on crypto when it broke through 125 are the same people who are right now refusing to take profit on silver as it approaches 100. That is a common theme to how you consistently underperform the market. So I did want to, bring it up. Steve, what I'm seeing on the tape is the early year sugar high, as I'm calling it, is sort of fading off. You still have some upside across most of the sectors that I'm seeing, but it's coming as a slow grind with more, more dips and rips than actual movement. Is this the tweet analysis I was talking about that's pushing this policy headlines?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be. I mean, as you're speaking there, Denmark just began deploying military equipment and advanced troops to Greenland. President Trump just said that Greenland's part of his dome security policy. So, this is crazy talk, and on both sides, right? Denmark sending troops to Greenland. It's a cold place. Good luck with that. But this is the kind of stuff that's really scaring people. And to your point, yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm gonna play the game in front of me. The game in front of me tells me the world's scared, and I take I take advantage of that. Scared money makes me money, and I like that. So no, I think you're right, Howard. I think that, you know, if you think about it right now, gold last year was around 2,600. It's at 4,600 a year later, right? That's just asinine. This is an asset that took how long to get here? No. If you're hoarding gold, what happens if the world does go to hell in a handbasket? You can't eat the gold. Are you going to?
And who's going to be the buyer of
Who's
it?
going to buy gold? Are you going to sell your gold for food? No, right? And I understand that. And hoarding gold by these by countries. Okay, great. What are you going to do? You going to make that your new standard of living? You going to go back on the gold standard? The U.S. Mint just suspended all silver sales. It ain't happening, folks. Common sense is what people need to have, and right now, common sense is out the door right now.
Well, and part of that with the U.S. Mint is, keep in mind, is these are those, you know, replica coins and things, a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Right now, the United States says they're going to freeze Brazil, Russia, and Iran visa processing. So Brazil is out, Russia is out, Iran is out.
Well, BRICS is out.
Yeah, the BRICS are out, man. And I was thinking about going to Brazil. I guess can't go now. So look, this is it, folks. The world is realigning, and I think Steve Flanagan nailed it. This world alignment is happening in front of our face, and it's chaos and chaotic. And I think
on that theme, like you said, China-U.S. tensions pick up again, and you saw Palo Alto down, Snow down, FTNT down, Fortinet. The Israeli names, as they have told their companies that they cannot use them anymore. So, you know, we're splitting into it. You know, what do we got, you know, and how, you know, for me, how is that going to affect NVIDIA?
I mean, we need to understand the world a little better, right? So processing power. I mean, you need semiconductors to make things happen, right? You know,
are we maybe underestimating what they're doing over there, though? Do they have, you know, we did with the cell phones, right? With Hawaii and all that, they're doing fine without our stuff. You know, do they, you know, DeepSeek, whether they used our stuff to make it happen or whatever, they made it happen, right? Across the globe, it's considered, you know, Chinese AI is considered to be right on par with ours, if not even better.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
You know, so there are some components there, you know, that I think that you have to keep into mind with it there. So, you know, Steve, if that's the case, what are some of the defensive sectors that you would look like? Would you look at XLP, XLV?
We're just hearing now reports that a B-52 Spirit plane has been in formation with F-35s. Wow, there's a lot going on right here. You know, to answer that question, Howard, you know, I think one of the things that we saw in November was retail sales rebounding, right? So buying chipsets probably was part of that. I know it's a holiday season in November. Yes, Black Friday, and people are buying things. People are stocking up again. That's why I said Costco. You know, if things do really go to hell in a handbasket here, Costco is going to do very well. Walmart's going to do very well as they buy toilet paper again. Things like you know, soap and these Procter and Gamble.
You are looking to set you are looking defensive. Okay, that's what I was sort of asking there. You know, those are the names, right? I was going to ask you if you had a list of favorites there. You just rattle them off before I could even ask the question. Don't replace me with AI, buddy.
I think AI is part of the problem, right? I think it's part of the process because a lot of this fighting is because of AI, right? We are personally trying, as a country, trying to figure out to be the number one, right? And we already said it. China's starting to get closer to us and passing us up, if not have already done that. And we got to keep up in order to do that. We got to manufacture.
And if you look at electronic vehicles, again, EVs, right? They definitely have at least caught us. You know, I would say bypassed us, but having touched the actual cars myself, I have to, you know, hold off a little bit, but from what we see across Europe, it seems that they are.
And Defense Secretary, I guess Secretary of War now, right, says Grok will be integrated into the Pentagon's internal networks. Huh. Just something saying the intersection of AI and defense stocks
Well,
are
and
right
also
there.
the intersection of Donald Trump and his inner circle still, I guess it looks like Elon's back on the good list. If that's
Well,
the
just
case, right?
takes a few dollars and go and hang out and lunch and dinner. I think that usually does it for the two of them. They look,
Did
money
you
likes
see
money.
the interview with Tom Lee yesterday where he was actually saying that that's a stock pickers market. It's not a stock pickers market. It's a pick what the president picks market.
And that's what I've done.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got to look at. Whether you like it or not, that those players are the players that are going to win, right? I mean, again, the path of least resistance is going to be to where policy and tweet analysis helps you, not hurts you. So I do think that will be the case. Today, Steve, we've got, I mean, just so much going on. It's all about SCOTUS, right? Tariff decision is pending. It's sitting on the decision about the legality of the sweeping tariffs, and the market has two paths, right? If tariffs are upheld, status quo, but trade friction stays there. And does the market have room to the upside? Because if tariffs are struck down, potential refund mechanics, fiscal noise.
I think the president made it very clear that if it is struck down, that's $330 billion. All right, that is a big chunk of change. So, especially in a government that only got this from tariffs, percentages, right? But he said that we'll find other ways to go around it. We'll He's not too worried about it.
Take over Greenland and you just sell all their crap yourself, and take over Venezuela and you sell their stuff. Yes. That's how you pay your bills. Yeah, it's a rough one. It's definitely what everybody's the sensitive tickers there again, and that's where defense also, I think it gets interesting because, like the Walmarts and stuff, they're really big into that area. Costco has done a good job of mitigating those issues. That's been one of their moats. Does that moat sort of disappear if tariffs are declared illegal? Auto will be crazy to watch, right? Tech supply, Apple, Dell, all those. It's going to be interesting to watch. Rates continue to go down, 4.165. I'm actually getting pretty excited. Pretty close to where I can get into that mortgage game and refi mine with the one I've been bitching about for 2 years. So we're getting real close. Do you think these rates hold this low?
No.
Damn it, Steve.
No. I don't. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think the Fed and the president are not in cahoots. You saw where every single in the United States and every single past Fed chair in the world all went against the president of the United States, and the Attorney General, obviously the DOJ. Honestly,
the president, remember, he says he had nothing to do with this. This was all,
you are the president of the United States, and it's your DOJ.
Already, well, listen, Steve, come on.
Doesn't matter what he says.
The case. Yeah, I was joking. He is, he's fully behind it.
Okay. Morning, Steve.
Mr. Flanagan, how are you doing today? Bank earnings, Steve. We got to get into it. Let's get into the meat. Bank of America had a beat. Trading helped. The tone from management is still the economy is resilient. Wells Fargo missed on revenue, and the market is definitely punishing them for anything that's not clean. And Citi delivered a better than expected print, with investors watching the restructuring narrative and whether momentum carries into 2026. What are your views so far on what you've seen, and including JP Morgan that's down again today after yesterday's earnings?
Banks are in trouble. Especially with the president wanting to cut the credit card fees. So, but the earnings haven't really been so good. It's just not. It's not been. They've not showed me what they think they can do, but they have showed that mergers and acquisitions rates are going to go back up. So M&A might slow down. If the credit card bill goes through, then that's a problem. Banks could be on the outs pretty soon. So I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of the selling here, early selling on this. I am looking at ZSL right here, Howard. I'm very, very tight on this thing. I'm at 290 here a share. You can't hold this overnight, folks. Okay, because that's just no. But you can make a trade on this, and I do like this play again. And I crushed it 11 times yesterday. So but this is easy money. So just be careful out there. But this is what I'm doing this morning.
There you go. Mr. Flanagan's asking, yeah, that one's a tough one. They never answer anybody. They never answer anything, any of those things. Gary Gensler didn't answer.
Why should Jay Powell respond to the DOJ?
Yeah, that's one of those ones just from being in DC, Mr. Flanagan, I can tell you is garbage because none of them respond to each other. Gensler, that's all they would talk about in Congress. The Senate Banking Committee is whenever they got him in front of them, you haven't answered this, you haven't answered this, you haven't answered this.
Right.
The only one that gets answers is usually the White House. And even there, they don't sometimes respond. So that's one of those non-headline headlines.
And Poland just held their key rate at 4%. I mean, they didn't. This is Europe. Why aren't they doing it right? So I think everything we've been saying right now is so right, and we're right on. But the question mark is not right now; it's next week. I think what is next, right? And I think what's next is war. I really do. Denmark, Iran. I think something's breaking here, and I think the president knows this. So, but he's caused it. I mean, he's caused it. So here we are. He's getting what he wants.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is. I mean, watch what's going on here is just it's intense. It is intense. And the markets don't really like uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty. I'll tell you what is looking good today. Crypto adjacent names looking very strong today. You see SharpLink up nicely, MSTR up about 3.24%. So with crypto holding up so far, we are seeing some strength there. I will tell you though, again, I do think it's just a quick pump on Bitcoin and then watch out below. James, we did talk a little bit about it already. We can get right back into it. I'm got plenty of headlines on the tariffs, of course. Steve, do you have do you think which way do you think they go? I don't think they strike them down. I don't think
they strike it down either. If they do, then it's a slap in the president's face because it's his Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court is very conservative.
I think it goes through, but I think that's priced in. I think it's the opposite. I think it's one of those. There's a lot more downside risk if they do overrule it.
Well, I don't think the Supreme Court's asking with a question about money. I think they're asking about setting precedents, right? I mean, if they do this, then it's set precedents for the rest of it. The president, I think, has the right to set the agenda when it comes to economics. I mean, that's what he gets hired on, right? He gets 99% of the time people hire and fire and vote for the president based on economics. Are you better, as the old adage of Ronald Reagan, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? So when you get elected for that reason, in his case, Trump thought that tariffs, I still think wrongly, are the way to, right or wrong, shall we say, in balance of trade. Then you look at it from the perspective of what country are we hitting them with tariffs? Is this political? Is this punishment? Are we doing this to right that wrong or that imbalance? In China's case, yeah, we're probably trying to right a wrong there, obviously. But my thought right now is, I don't think that the Supreme Court is going to strike it down. I think they're going to allow it.
Yep, we're both on the same page there, and I believe Mr. Flanagan too. So we got one thing we won't argue about later.
Oh, damn, that sucks.
There. So I do think that's the case. But I don't think it gives a takeoff to anybody because companies have figured out how to mitigate it to where it's at. We're starting to get it all priced in. What you're going to find is more than prices is you're going to lose access to certain items. As I've mentioned on the wine distribution side, my friends that import wines are still importing them, just less labels. If you used to have 50, French labels you brought into the US, you're just picking your best 20, or your most cost efficient or whatever it might be there. Steve, going to keep on the track of things that are doing pretty well today. Intel's having a good little switch here. They got an upgrade, another big story pointing to them, analysts pointing to a real pickup in the server CPU demand. You wanted to check that out, right? You had talked about that, CPUs versus GPUs. A lot of folks bought CPUs back during COVID, I think you were talking about, and would be looking to do it. 2026 supply is tight, so it looks like your thesis is playing out. If that is correct, it's a broader signal. Hyperscaler CapEx and AI infrastructure demand will have to accelerate even if the index is choppy, right? So, any winners or losers from that news on Intel?
Intel's a different situation. It's a different animal because of their CPU itself. They are using older stuff. Their new build, their new technology is moving into GPUs, and I agree with that, the server side, because I think eventually we'll all have dumb terminals. We'll just have a terminal will connect into the internet slash the AI. It'll be in the sky, and you won't have an actual machine on your side, which will be crunching data and crunching video, right? It'll be just how fast is your internet at home, which is what we've upgraded. The reason we have CPUs power crunching is because of not everybody has fiber like we do, right? Not everybody has, and we're not on dial-up anymore, but we don't have 1 gig download and upload speeds. I think in the future we'll have 10 to 100 gigs upload and download speeds, and we won't need the number crunching and the that we do today in individual homes, which will also lower energy costs. Energy costs also is not just producing of energy, but the transmission of energy, right? So if a house needs a whole lot of energy because they're like my house needs a whole lot of energy because of all the crunching I do with numbers and stuff, but we won't need that in the future. In the future, it'll be based on where Microsoft headquarters are, where their buildings are. So those GPUs will be needed a whole lot more. And you're seeing that because Apple and Microsoft and Meta are already building those data centers. Those data centers are what are going to number crunch what you're asking for. You're on your phone and your Oculus, and you go, oh, I want to know this answer. You won't crunch it on your phone. You'll crunch it in a machine, and we call the fog, not the cloud, the fog, because the fog is separate to the cloud, meaning that it'll be a bit of both. I might put in a question mark, and it gets bounced off of Howard's servers, and it gets bounced off of someone else's servers to give me an answer. So it spreads out that energy needs. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to go with this.
We're coming to the open, so I wanted to get the chart up here on ZSL.
Yep.
So what you just described would be called Vitalik Buterin's vision of Ethereum, the world's supercomputer, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is exactly.
And it won't be an individual supercomputer. It'll be several though. But look for major companies like IBM.
Shared computing power, and like you're saying, what it is eventually these data centers, while they do use huge immense amounts of energy and all this stuff, because they build them next to the source of energy, there is not the loss of energy that Michael Saylor talks so much about, right? There's a loss of energy on everything except for Bitcoin. And that is the reason why that you'll actually develop efficiencies there. And again, as Steve's talking about, that our computers would require a lot less. They would be lightweight because they would be almost more like Chromebooks, that they're just the gateway to using shared computing, their display outputs. We are 1 minute from the open here. Take a quick look at advanced decline. Is completely neutral going into the open, -3. Haven't had one of those in a few weeks here, so we'll see what we get in the next minute or so. VIX is up 7.7%, telling you part of the story there, as gold and silver also telling a story, up almost 6% on silver here. Steve is getting ready to short it. Bitcoin and Ethereum holding up pretty well so far. And rates are what's dropping. We'll have Mr. Flanagan in later. DXY though did get back down below 99 here this morning, so we'll get all of the reasons for that. Overnight, we did see the Nikkei rise by about 10 basis points, and Hong Kong indexes were high.
We are open
56
here.
basis.
We are open here,
now we're open. Yes.
Yeah,
we are open. We'll put Steve ZSL is now part of my Mag 7 somehow.
I am long here quite heavily.
trading at 293 from what I'm seeing here. Any real movement there.
Mm-hmm.
There it goes to the upside, 294. So it's moving slowly, but it is moving.
Yeah, I just think that the question here is, yeah, we're starting to see. There we go.
I'm keeping my eyes on the crypto adjacent names. Sharp Link here pulled back quickly off the open, but now bouncing off of that levels, holding right around VWAP. If it can get over 11 here today, it's got a real chance to run, especially a break of 11.08 has solid upside towards that $12 range pretty quickly. AI names, Pony AI is looking strong today. Nice little pop off the market open too.
Oh,
And
goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious. I got to take this here.
Intel to the downside. Looking at the Mag 7, Netflix up 1.1%, but actually pulling back a little bit from this morning's price. ZSL popped from 293 to 296 here, so up 3 cents or so since the open for Mr. BigBeat. If I take a look at the different sectors here as they start to roll in,
If we break below 91 on silver, we could go a lot higher here on ZSL.
Yep, 296 it just hit here. Broke through VWAP here. Energy is up about 70 basis points here. Utility slightly up. Technology getting hit the most, down almost a full percentage point here. I also see XLY, which is just consumer discretionary, getting hit here also. There you go, 297 on ZSL. Nice move to the upside there for you, Steve. Netflix pulling back. So some of the early morning gainers are getting hit here. VIX picked up a little bit higher, 1730.
I have an order. Okay.
And we do see that silver has pulled back about a full percentage point here. Bitcoin holding 95, needs to hold that 95.5 here. Ethereum 3310. Mag 7, Nvidia is looking to go to neutral here. Apple is neutral. Nvidia down about 1.68%. Microsoft down another 60 basis points. Google, which has had a strong run, down about 70 basis points here. And Amazon and Tesla both down about 1.25%. Qs are down 66 basis points, but have bounced off the bottom of that short-term linear regression right at 620.52. So that's the low pivot point to keep an eye on here. Dow futures are still down about 36 basis points. S&P through SPY is down about 34 basis points, but also coming off our lows of the day. So we are seeing a little bit of strength click back in here. At ZSL back right about where it was at the open, 294.
Just keep your eye on silver. I think we're going to see a nice little drop here coming up.
Chinese names, as I mentioned, strong today. Alibaba up about 2.3%. Baidu up also this morning, along with Billy. I don't think I have on my list here. It's on this list. Up about 4.52%. Mining names, let's see. Mining names moving to the downside. HYMC after open, moving to the downside. We see profit taking on those crypto names. SBET seeing a pretty big pullback here, back to 1069.
I think I am 91. We just need to break below 91. I think we're good here.
CoreWeave having a nice little run here, up about 4.95%. I mentioned MicroStrategy up about 4.58% here, back at 180. So nice little recovery.
My order was processed. I got lifted at 298. So from 293 to half to 298 on 50,000 shares.
Nice little move up here from 157 to 180 on it.
There's 299. See, that's what I mean. Patience pays off, folks. Patience pays off. You know where common sense here. This is getting really, really nonsense, right? And when you see the run like that, you're going to see profit taking on it. And it's an easy win for people. So pay attention. Common sense wins the game almost every time. Just wrote me a nice little check this morning.
There you go. Banks continuing to get hit here. JP Morgan down about a 0.25 percentage point. Wells Fargo, the one getting hit the most, down a little over 4% here.
Zora saying good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Zora.
Now, I do like that.
Has now gone negative on the day here. We do see a bounce back by CHKP, one of the names that was directly mentioned yesterday in the Chinese band of Israeli software companies. And after that profit taken, we do see some money moving back into some of these. Mosaic Company running away here, now up 6.22%. Morgan Stanley just raised their price target to over $35 a share. So catching a little love on that.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag. But I think the question today is, Feds Goolsbee says central bank independence is key to low prices. Is he mixing in politics into that's crazy here. Look at that. Oh my. Costco's up 1.3%. You know, that's what I've been saying. Like, people are going to get nervous. They're going to start going out buying. Toilet paper, toilet paper, toilet paper. It's a toilet paper trade. That's what I'm calling it now. CoreWeave's up another 3% today. That's one of my picks for the year, as everybody knows. I like CoreWeave and Costco. Yeah.
Well, you were concentrating on silver. I did say that, CoreWeave.
Yeah.
I even gave you the credit.
Might actually be wrong. It might actually go right on up there. As silver starts to make 91.15 now. I mean, it can't hold up here. It's struggling up here.
Getting ready to short it again?
I don't think so.
11 times yesterday.
Yeah, but
you have no willpower. You'll do it 17 more times today.
I don't think so. I think look, that was a big move. It was an easy move, and I'm taking off my radar today. So I think I done my thing on that yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday was different because of the sheer amount of volume on it. Today, the volume right now, oh my, the volume already is at 71 million. Average volume at 59. Yesterday at this time was 135. That's what I'm saying. Back off the ZSL a little bit now, because quite frankly, this one could go both ways, and I can't see a clear picture yet. Oh, we've just heard reports that the FBI has executed a search warrant at the home of a Washington Post reporter amid a probe in a government contractor with top secret security clearance. Wow. For those of you who lived in D.C. at the time, I think you did, Howard, Alder James.
Yeah.
$2.99 now on ZSL. Could it go to 3 here? The price break. Oh yeah, 90.88. There it is. There's $3 right there. That was a man. I wish I did the right thing, but yeah. Yeah, I don't see much here that I look. You're looking at Nvidia down 1.8%, Microsoft down 1%, Oracle down 2.5%. I was asking if I liked Oracle at all. Still don't. I still think it's old stuff. I don't like Oracle, and it's proving to me. Tesla, obviously, another one there down to 1.3%. Tesla at 441 is starting to get interesting to me, to be honest with you. I do like that. When it got down to this morning, but I still think if you look at the daily chart on Tesla, it's really just not. It's in no man's land, and I don't like no man's land. I think it could get back to 400 pretty quickly here. Dr. Copper being talked about on CNBC, by the way.
There we go. Yeah, 422 should be pretty good support for it for Tesla there. Hey, what are you thinking? What do you think about MSTR these days?
I mean,
on some key resistance here.
Michael Saylor's got brass balls, baby. That's all there's to say about that. The guy continues to buy. He doesn't care, and the price is up. So you know what? He knows what's up. He like Kathy Woods telegraphs his positions, and you know what? You gotta admire that. Conviction is more one thing, but putting your mouth, money where your mouth is, that's another thing. And he does that. They both do that. And right or wrong, they're both well paid off for that. So, you got to give it to them. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bitcoin 96,000, folks, ladies and gentlemen.
96 here. It's coming on a key spot here.
We got to break that.
Like I said, it can, it could make a run.
Silver just cannot hold that 91 there. And you've got gold up 1% here and silver up 5%. I mean, it just doesn't. It's not adding up. It should be in tandem, but it's not because of the derivatives side of these things, right? I mean, and the CME is and all these firms are doing that right to it, and it's now we're gonna have a 100 ounce bar and you can now trade a 100 ounce bar of silver. It's $10,000. I mean, this is not like a normal commodity, right? I mean, a normal commodity is $50,000 to $100,000 worth of something. Qs are still selling off here, as I thought that would be the case. They are pandering to retail, and retail's eating it up, and they're going to get hurt. France's President Macron says he warns of unprecedented consequences if the United States takes Greenland. I mean, this is serious talk, folks. This isn't like joking around anymore. I'm still buying Meta slowly but surely. I've been adding to Meta, so I'm liking the move here. 96,000 keeps getting ticked on. 96.04 there. So we just broke above it. Now can we go higher on it, or is there just a massive wall there, Hondo?
That's the question of the day. It's right at its key spot, as you can see on my chart. I think it's got enough room to squeeze a little bit here. I was just actually messaging Mr. Bauer, asked me a question because he's looking to short MSTR. I think I'd give it a next hour here to see if he gets a little bit of a squeeze move. If we see CoinGlass liquidation start to kick off, that's what I'm just pulling up on my screen here. Right. Again, we not seeing the ETF inflows or the enough spot absorption for this to continue. So this is still perp led. Ethereum has the spot volume today that says it can hold. Yesterday, Bitcoin did. It hasn't the last 24 hours. So the net flows have me more thinking, fade off of this current level here. This is the pump of the day. Sorry to say that.
Qs are still slipping here. I did pick up a little bit more Meta down here. I like this. ZSL at $3 here.
Tell you what, Bitcoin's holding up at this 95,900 without liquidations pushing it. So it's doing that nice stall, pump, stall, pump, stall, pump, stall, as opposed to pump reversal. Netflix down 1.34%. So
Yeah, I like it. 89 bucks.
That sell off.
But here's what's cool: Netflix is going to now buy Warner Brothers for cash as opposed to shares. So that should give everybody a pause on why not to buy Netflix. I like Netflix here.
Nasdaq's at the low of the day, continue to move to the downside. First long liquidation, so well, there we go. Just got pushed.
Right. I think it's trying to break I think people are really wanting. I think the shorts getting. Yeah, there it goes.
There it is. Yep. Like I said, it's prime for it. It's set up for it. Now we watch right at that 97, 250 or 97. Yeah, 200.
$96.4 now.
Yep.
We're going to 100. I thought we'd get it by the end of the month or early part of next month.
So the quicker we do it, the worse off we are. So
oh, I agree. We should do it. Yeah.
If we do it quickly, it plays out the head and shoulder version that you have most people talking about. As if you look at what you have here,
that's a good question. What do the people of Greenland want? I don't think that. I've heard videos and saw videos where the Greenland people say, screw Denmark. I saw videos where there's like, screw America.
You can't trust any videos anymore with AI and the framing of everything. Unfortunately,
so for me, I don't think it matters what Greenland wants. I think it matters what the president of the United States wants, what Denmark.
Well, no. It does matter. We don't want to go take over a hostile country.
Well, I know. I agree with that. I'm just saying it doesn't matter what we think. The president's going to do what the president wants to do. If he wants to take over Greenland, he's going to do it.
And listen.
I
try to stay as apolitical as I can. But
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what we think. It doesn't matter what the Greenland people think.
If we go into a foreign country that is a friend,
you mean like Venezuela?
They were never really a friend. They weren't a friend.
I mean,
we had them under sanctions.
That's correct.
Going after there, like what I mean is there. There you can, there at least I have. Just a land grab is a land grab. I mean, the oil grab,
But it really doesn't matter what we think, Howard. I mean, to be honest with you, the president's going to do what the president wants to do. If he wants to go to Greenland, he's going to send troops, and he has that right because he won the election. Elections matter. People forget that. Elections really do matter.
You're not supposed to go to war without Congress.
Well, I mean, has that stopped this president yet? Okay. No, he's not.
96,500.
We don't want to go to war with NATO, right? Of course not. But this is a president who's already stepped aside for NATO. He's already set. Let's bring Steve in. Let's go. Let's get Steve Flanagan in here now. Let's go.
Let me get this set up for you guys.
Let's go, baby.
I'm going to the sidelines for a second.
Let's go, Steve Flanagan.
Go ahead, Steve. You are ripping today.
I mean, yeah, today's good. It's been a good money day, right? Another. I mean, again now 22 trades in a row now, correct? And I'm basing it off of this volatility of all the nuttiness going on, the silver, the nuttiness going on around, the chaos of this quantum convergence that you've been talking about. It's not funny anymore, Steve. No. NATO talk is getting serious. Iran talk is getting serious. Things are getting serious. I think that's where the word of the day is serious. And we are pushing. And the president, and we were just asked, and all the questions there for you too, is what do the Greenland people want? Anyone know? And I don't think the people of Greenland are even in the equation of this anymore. Steve?
Yeah, well, there's 35,000 people roughly in Greenland. And there has been a movement afoot for the last year to formalize an independence movement. Now, the way this is set up with Denmark, this is a populist movement to become independent out of Greenland would probably take over a year, maybe closer to 2 years, in order for parliaments of both countries to approve. So I don't really think I like the saber rattling on the part of the administration. And then what happens as a result of the U.S. threatening to, take it is that Denmark announces, listen, we are going to show, and I'm not making this up, this is what Denmark's doing. They want to show that they're capable of defending their territory, and they are sending in troops. But they have announced that this is part of a greater NATO-led move. So I don't think that the United States is going to be very upset at all with the fact that NATO, which we are a member, and we have a base already there in Greenland, if NATO increases, the president goal has been achieved, and that is to define Greenland away from the incursions of Russia and China. So in the end, the United States gets just what they wanted, and now they have NATO support in there as well. So I'm not really worried about that. There are a number of issues, Steve, that you've pointed up around the world, the Iran issue. I think that that's pretty much going to happen, and the people are going to topple the government. I'm a little more concerned with the markets. China last night tightened the rules on margin financing after they moved forward a fiscal policy in which they're trying to expand and support the markets. And the market responded by adding $1.2 trillion in net worth to their equity market. And then they come in and say, no, we're tightening the rules. So that's a communist regime. They're not going to let both sides happen. But I'm worried about the effect on that. The second thing is Japan now accelerating talks of earlier snap election, and the markets thinking that there'll be more stimulus, push the dollar-yen level up to a high of 159.45, which then got met by comments from the Japanese government, hey, we're getting ready to intervene. So, Steve, you definitely point to the number of issues out there in the world, and I totally agree. I am right now pulling back on any of my currency exposure. I've covered my long dollars. The Dixie is around 99 level. I do think that we're going to see the dollar push a little bit lower here because I think there's a lot of concerns out there in the world. Having said that, though, the way things are now moving so rapidly, what do we have coming up tomorrow? You've got all these sterling releases coming up, UK, GDP, industrial production. And then you have the Eurozone coming up with industrial production. So as much as I see the dollar ebbing and maybe moving 30 or 40 points lower to its support zone in the Dixie, you could quickly have a rapid turnaround if the situation in the economics of Europe, meaning the UK and the Eurozone, suddenly show deterioration tomorrow because both of them are holding firm on not lowering rates anymore. So it is a fluid market. I would say, Steve, as you constantly echo, if you're going to have a position in this, not an investor takes a longer view, medium, longer term. But if you're trading, you better be sitting watching the screens because this can turn on a dime.
Yeah. I mean, I think the volatility is scaring people. I think that's why Costco stock's up. I mean, I think people are getting nervous. They're nervous in a way that we haven't seen in a long time, probably since COVID, right? Because it's not helping anything. The fear mongering, the screaming, and the gnashing of teeth is not helping, right? I mean, this is not a White House should be a calming effect, not a chaotic effect.
Yeah, well, we're a year into this now, so that's not going to happen, right? This is a destabilizing. They go out there and shake the tree hard, and that's their policy. That's what they've done.
Right.
Right or wrong, not taking politics here, but they have accomplished an awful lot in a year. I don't necessarily agree all the time with this. I don't think that the Jay Powell move was a very smart move. But then when you start hearing all the details, and I know you and Howard have already responded to my question, they have been asked 3 times to just give information and they've refused. So they served them with a subpoena. So I don't know what's right, what's wrong. I kind of think it could have been handled a little bit differently.
Okay.
I'm not very supportive of that move at all, but because you're talking about the Fed, and Fed independence shakes markets. So another element out there into the mix, and it's a good reason to probably be long a volatility index. And then we still have the Supreme Court coming out on the tariffs. And no matter what, it's a buy the dip mentality. It's just a matter of where the dip is. How low does it go? How low do we go? And that's really, you've got to have some cash on the side, because if it dips rapidly, as this market does when it moves, it's the herd trying to get out the gate. You want to be ready to take advantage of it. Select your stocks.
Okay.
Technology, to me, is where you want to be.
Help us out, Steve. I mean, that's just it, right? I mean, people don't know what to do. That's the problem, right? We're buying silver. You're buying meta stock. People don't really know what to do. I mean, I'm taking advantage of it by trading it, right? But yep. I think people are just scared. I think they don't know what to actually do.
I agree with you, and my view would be, I would kind of hope silver drops. I'd love to see a 10% drop in silver, because I would like to get long because of its industrial demand. And China is beginning to stimulate it. As I said, they pushed forward a lot of the stimulus packages. They're probably going to keep at it. And China is a huge demand on silver. So there is an industrial reason to be long silver. I think the markets are getting ahead of themselves. It's kind of the cheap man's gold.
Right.
That's the way we've always talked about it, right? So, but look at the China surplus that was just announced. So China's starting to come back. We've talked about this for a number of months. It's a good place to be in the shorter term, medium to longer term. I really like Japan, but now that they're doing a snap election, I'm kind of, I'm in the Japanese EWJ fund, but I am a little concerned on a snap election that you never know which way those go. Ask France, right? France has been in turmoil ever since their snap election.
Yeah, and I'm also mostly Steve and I went long Asian stocks and mutual funds and ETFs months ago. We had already made this move, and I think that's part of it, Steve. Is that when I think a lot of this volatility today is being based off of the news, and it's going nuts. They weren't prepared for this move, right? We got prepared for this move when nobody thought that we were being crazy about getting into Japan. We understood what was going on, so that move made it very easy for us. But the question I have now, and I can't see as clearly, is what the move is in the future that I want to move to.
Well, I'm, again, you've got to have a thesis of trading, and I am 100% all in on a U.S. move, but I will acknowledge that there is quite a bit of ingredients that are creating some uncertainty right now. So I would push my move out. The first quarter of this year is going to be up and down, and get ready for some real increased volatility. I believe as we get through April, the clarity begins, the clouds, the fogs begin to move. And I think that the technology that we've been talking about the entire 2025 is starting to take hold and take grips. I mean, AI is all over. Everybody. I mean,
Oh no, AI is dead. That's what I kept hearing. AI is dead. AI is dead. It ain't dead.
yeah, well, I don't think there's a day that I don't start off by going into my favorite AI and saying, what's gone on overnight?
What is your favorite AI, by the way, Steve?
I like using Grok.
I like Grok for pictures and Chat GPT for normal things. I like Perplexity for some finance. Perplexity makes a lot of mistakes, but I agree with you. It's not about one AI, it's about several AIs, right? So
yeah,
how these AIs are being used? We heard today that from the Pentagon, from the Secretary of War, I guess, Secretary of Defense, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm an old school DC guy. SecDef is saying he's going to put Grok into the Pentagon.
Yeah,
on the secret servers. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and you've got Apple moving in with Google, and so you're right, Steve. The future, and again, part of my quantum convergence is all of these technologies are converging, and there will probably be a database, a general database that the majority of people begin to use because it's sensible. But initially, over this year and probably well into 27, everybody's will have their own model, and people will have a natural, I like this one because of this. I like this. I will tell you, I've got this new Dell laptop, and suddenly I'm talking to my computer, and it's,
right?
This is pretty cool. It's getting used to my questioning. I can ask it things in the morning as soon as I sign on. And I've got a nice little run the way I'm doing it. It's pretty much what Quasar Markets is set up. What do I like to see? Boom, ask it, and there it is. It's all there every morning. I don't need to look anymore.
And wait till they see next month what we got coming.
That's right. I was going to say, that's why I was popping in to say that. And I will say also, guys, take a look at Claude's making a big upgrade, and so is Gemini. I've been playing around with a lot of them, and also they're all better for certain things. Grok has problems with visuals, but it does really, really well with social sentiment and things like that. Claude is the best when it looks at
because
visuals.
Of the data.
Yeah, and it's how they're built. It's just access to data. Grok is built on a backbone that includes Twitter. Gemini, I will tell you, I love for deep research because it has the ability to use Google to search and to get on the internet. And where I ran into all these 403 errors off of Chat GPT and some of the others, I'm now finding I don't run into that with Gemini. So give that one a try. And remind me, Steve Flanagan, I got to wait for you to look at it even differently through their developer dashboard. That's even more interesting.
Yeah,
so I'll let you guys continue arguing, but I wanted to give my 2 cents on AI.
Come back, Howard. So, but this is where we're moving, Steve. Everybody's got, and pretty soon, somebody will create, Steve, maybe it's Quasar Markets. You will have all the AIs, and you will take the best pieces of each one of the AIs, and everybody will have access to them all. Why not? Somebody will build. This is the way. Look, I joined in technology in 1979. That was my first job in Manufacturers Hanover Trust. And it was right into a operational department that they automated, the first one that the bank automated. And I've been in technology ever since. And this is the way this field expands. You see developments, then you see people mimic the development, and then someone comes in with a product that then takes advantage of them all. And then they build off of that level. It's kind of like a staircase type approach. And I wouldn't doubt that somebody will build something that uses all the AI models and gives you the best answer.
Yeah, I mean, the key is an AI is not one product. It's putting them all together in one place, which is what we have done. What's best. We have a model that's patented now that moves things around based on what's best, and that I think that's the future, not the way that we're doing it now. This go it alone thing is going to get people screwed.
It's all about the database, Steve, and that's why you see so many countries beginning to do sovereign data analysis, sovereign databases, and that's the whole thing over TikTok. The whole point was, Why should I have a product that gathers all this data, but then is used by another country?
Right.
So you want to wall off your data, and United States clearly will be the largest data subset that any machine would want.
Maybe China's moving pretty quickly with data sets.
And China will move with, yeah, Steve, this is the convergence ahead. There's plenty of room for the United States, China, and if Europe ever decides to get involved.
But Fed's Paulson now just says that he reiterates more rate cuts could follow moderating in inflation. Wow, President Fed. She says that indicates that interest rates could be lowered later this year if inflation moderates and the job market stabilizes. That's a change of pace. That's very bullish for the markets, by the way. You can start to see the markets are pushing higher here now on that. She has been listen, I think the Fed's listening to what's going on. If you don't do what I say, do as I say, not as I do, the president's going to remove you or going to sue you. And I think the Fed's changing tune here a little bit. This is very positive. Yeah, Dow's still pushing up 20 points now so far.
Look at the words later this year. Well,
That's
guess what? We're going to have a new Fed chairman. It will be more pro-growth oriented.
Yeah.
So she is stating the inevitable.
Are we not stoking the market here, Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
We call it running hot in institutions. We call it running hot. Run the market hot. Run the economy hot.
We're too focused on the headline and not on the opportunity that for the next 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 1 year. We're focused on the next tweet. That's where we have to be.
And as we talk about Fed's messengers right now, live on CNBC right now, looks like Loretta got a better haircut today. Thank God. I find her line of understanding of the markets pretty well, but she's, like you say, she's academic, right? So they're not thinking about pro-growth measures.
Right. The only way out of the debt, and there's, Steve, I'm sure you're seeing them. There's a lot of articles about the Federal Reserve out there. In fact, the central banks in the world out there in the marketplace that you can look up today. And, why are they, haven't they kind of been the ones that have been behind the release of inflation?
Yes.
Because suddenly, now back, what has Jay Powell gotten right in the last 3 years? In fact, maybe in the last 5 years.
Come on now. Jay Powell has lowered rates. But let's be real honest, Steve. And this is a guy I berate on a daily basis because of his policies. And I think everybody knows that. But he's actually a very good guy. And he's a very smart man. And he earned his place as chairman and picked by Donald Trump. So Donald Trump has nothing to say but it's himself. So when I look at Powell in general, Powell has done one thing and one thing right. He's kept the country running pretty much saying two things: lower inflation and job growth. He stayed on track with that. He's been very consistent. And that is what we ask of any chairman of any, in this case, for the last 6 years, to be consistent. And he's been that. So he's done his job. He may not be exactly what Obama or what Biden wanted. He may not be exactly what Trump wanted, but he has been consistent. So that in general is actually been a good thing for Powell.
When the Yankees don't make the World Series, you look at the coach. And when the Fed lags behind in doing what was the right thing, you have to look at the coach. And so my criticism of Jay Powell is not necessarily, as I started by talking about the Federal Reserve, their members have missed the boat everywhere. Jay Powell's the captain of the boat, So, I drag him down with him. I think the man is a super smart man. I have no, other than the results that I've seen, I think the Fed has been well behind the curve on everything.
Yes, and they're behind the curve again. I think, but here's the thing, Steve. They're using data in the past and even worse data now. We know, right? I think that's probably what the problem is. They don't have data that's up to date. They're not with us.
There you go. My whole point about quantum convergence is that the data sets that people, for example, the guy who called the Big Short, Michael Burry,
Yeah.
you know, he's using his mathematical data set that did work then in 2008. But the data sets today have never been used in those past models. They're brand new. Now, I don't want to say that nothing of the past can affect the future. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying forecasts that people use are flawed and biased because they're not understanding. And I'll give you the one caveat of what they don't include is the $50 trillion that the central banks around the world have added to the economy, if not more, since 2008.
But aren't they chewing? They're chewing through that now, right? They're trying to get some of that, clawing some of that back, correct? By burning some of the fiat and by buying some of those M2s out there. So
yes,
I understand that there's a lot of shall we say fuel on the fire out there to burn through, and they're getting through that, but it's burning through the markets, all right? And as these and that quote kids are losing money in the markets, they're losing it to the institutions are able to pay it back, and you're seeing it through bank earnings right now. You're seeing where they're making their money. They're making their money in trade, right? Which is taking the opposite end of these zero DTEs and everything else. So they're enjoying the fruits of this money in the back end. So it is going back into the system. It's going back into the banks, and they are burning in this obviously being the Federal Reserve banks. I look, granted that yes, the art education institution in a lot more ways than we think. The Fed, meaning that Masters, UPenn, and they're all adjunct professors, and you talk about Goolsbee professor, Chicago. I get all that, right? And they are looking at data in the past. But the world's not burning in the United States. And the Fed has been right there in the forefront of that. And you know what? My accounts are up, as of this morning now, 12.5% trading. Yep. The K economy is working full throttle. But it's not helping the poor people. And that's what's scaring me the most. And they're the ones who support the economy.
That's right. And the Fed has to understand that. And that is just what the comment we just saw. It is looking at lower rates as 26 begins to unwind. And it is looking at the executive branch and the branches of government of getting involved and saying, hey, guess what? 10% on credit cards for a year. And also encouraging oil prices to go down.
And as we say that Bitcoin hit 97,000 right now.
Yeah, and I like Bitcoin because it's not necessarily Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, but it's the crypto space, the blockchain, it's the technology. We are getting driven. Here comes Howard on that one.
No. It's breaking news. Supreme Court is not going to rule on tariffs today, everybody. Supreme Court is not going to rule on tariffs.
And if you're paying attention on this show right now, you would have known, because we were talking about Mester, we're talking about what's going on, and the Dow was down about 300. Now it's only down 86. So pay and watch the show. We're not like other shows that talk about charts. We talk about what's really going on, really making money. We don't back around. We're on top of this, folks. Love it.
Wow. That's so there'll be no ruling whatsoever.
No ruling whatsoever. Looks like does not rule on.
No. They're just delaying it. They're just delaying. They put it on the back burner and they didn't give a date, so indefinitely.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. What is that going to mean?
Now 55 points right now. NASDAQ's probably going to be the next move here. I mean, this is why we do what we do, right? We want to make sure people make. I love charts more than anybody else, but how I've been charting longer than most people even talk about charts. I've been charting for 36 years.
Yep.
But it's not the end all be all to your trading. My thesis on silver wasn't about charts. It was about what we're talking about today, understanding the world and how we make money on that, right? And that's what. And now we have 3,100 people watching us right now, live right now, because we understand what's going on, right?
So this plays out in a very positive fashion in the markets. This folds right back into my dollar strategy. I am looking to buy the dollar, but I am going to let it breathe here. But I do think the dollar is the thing you want to watch, because I think that leads us through 2026. I don't look for a, super sharp, but the dollar index right now at 99, I think you could see a 101, 102 level in the dollar index.
And I'm going to tell you for the first time, I think right here on the show, Steve, you and I agree. I think the dollar goes higher. Yep. I think it finally now goes higher because I think people are starting to understand that it is about the United States. They may not love us in the world, and they don't. They hate us, to be honest with you. But I think that that's starting to become the big word I think I'm going to start to use is jealousy. I think the world's jealous of the United States, not liking us because of the orange-haired man in the White House, or they don't like Congress, or they don't like Elizabeth Warren or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think the problem is that they're jealous of this country, and I understand that. I get it, right? But this country is winning. We are winning, and you know what? We're not winning in manufacturing right now. We know that we're losing. We know we're losing in jobs. But the United States is becoming still, when we cut off the passports and visas, they still want to be here. But the Canadians I heard this over the weekend. The Canadians are like, well, we don't really understand what's going on there. Okay, but they still want to be here. They want to come here, right? It's because my God, the markets are up again, and you're about to see the Dow probably go positive.
Yeah, but and here's the point, Steve. Everybody's saying, well, he's ruining the world with tariffs, but is he really?
I think he is. I'll tell you why. Here's why. Because it's creating an imbalance. I think the tariffs have never worked in the history of the United States. Ever. They've never worked anywhere, any country. They just don't work. Right? They didn't work in China when they tariffed us because we hated it and we wanted to tariff them back. It doesn't work. You want to have a country, have free trade. Have free trade agreements where we trade. We give them their stuff, they give us our stuff, and everybody's happy. But we don't do that because of one thing: freaking greed. Right? Greed is what kills, and it's killed this country, and it's killing other countries, and it's creating that imbalance. Trump doesn't like that imbalance, so Trump's saying, "Okay, fine, I will tariff you more. Oh no, I'll tariff you. Oh no, I'll take that tariff off because now you're playing nice." This isn't a bully. This isn't a schoolyard where bullies get to pick on people. This is a real world in a real place, Steve. So, I think what's happening right now is I think you're dead on. Quantum convergence is happening, and the chaos is happening, but it's happening too fast. It's scaring people, and he's doing it because the midterms are coming up, and he knows he's losing. So, and he said it, we're losing, and he's trying to change the game. So that chaos starts to seep down into the K economy. So we're trying to understand how to invest. Great, we're making money off of it. But the average person isn't making money. The average person is losing their job, and they're losing it to AI. They're losing it to manufacturing jobs. And when we look at the future, when we have to invest, how do we fix that? And it's getting worse because of China, Ukraine, because of Greenland, because of Iran. It's not getting better. So what do we need to do, Steve, in our world to change that philosophy in order to make people happier, get back to freaking work, and actually make America great again? If that's what he wants to do, it's not going to be screaming and yelling about, I gotta tariff this, and I gotta send Bill and Hillary to the gas chambers and Epstein files. People don't care. They care about as everything else, they care about their back pocket.
Right.
And chaos isn't getting to them. So Steve, talk to me and tell me exactly what it is. Because I guarantee you, I just got 2 texts a few minutes ago that the White House is watching this show, by the way. Right? I got a text a few minutes ago that people are watching. We're at 3,500. So you have an opportunity right now, Steve, on the stage right now. Tell them exactly what you're thinking. How do we fix the problems right now?
First of all, Steve, out of chaos comes order, right? That's the primary. So if you're going to put out the midterm elections as the big point, then the chaotic moment is the first quarter of this year. And out of that, you're going to end up with a situation where Iran is free. Now, you mentioned that people may be jealous of the United States. Well, I would say that may be in the political leaderships of the world, yes, but not down on the street level. Now you begin to see the emphasis on the United States about down at the street level. The things that matter is the pocketbook, the wallet. My dad always said, when people went in to vote, they pulled the curtain and they voted with their wallet. And that's what's going to happen. And you will begin to see this chaotic mess, because obviously the changes in government, in politics, take a while. And that's not an acceptable strategy today. We don't have time. So yes, Steve, the accelerator gets hit on chaos, but then it comes right back off. And that's why I look for April as the point where that begins, the wheels begin to kick in. So if I have to suffer a 3-month period of chaos and increased volatility, I believe that's what we'll see in global markets.
And we got a question here: fueling American exceptionalism, but how? Look, I'm proud to be an American. I'm super proud to be an American. But when I go overseas and I hear it from them, and I go overseas a lot, and I hear it, what the hell is going on in your country? Well, I don't know. Kind of living pretty good. But that's us, right? It's not working for everybody, and that's what bothers me the most. Is I don't want to see this. That could cause a civil war, Steve.
Okay, American exceptionalism is led out of technology.
I agree.
Okay? When other people look and see 5% GDP versus 1% maybe in the European zone with 100 million more people in their populace, people begin to say, I am jealous of the United States. Not so much a traditional jealous, but it's like, hey, how are they doing that? Okay, the only way that this American exceptionalism fuels the growth is as people begin to get involved with it, which you've begun to see in the past 6 to 8 months with commitments of dollars back into the United States. I believe they quote, over $15 trillion. That money is coming in and will create manufacturing. It just doesn't happen overnight. But that is what fuels the growth. It will lead down to Main Street because everybody, look, I use old euphemisms that were trickle down. It does trickle down. But first,
come on, Steve.
First,
trickle down didn't work in the Bush administration. Voodoo economics. Give me a break. That didn't know. You know what? Real quick, I'm bringing Alan Ellman in right now. He's probably like, what the hell's going on? I'm here to talk about options. But, Alan, I think Alan is the voice of reason because he uses options to protect his portfolio. So let's get into that real quickly. I got about 5 minutes here before I go to the next meeting. And I apologize, Alan. We got 4,000 people watching us. We're getting tuned into right now. So let's talk about it, Alan. How are you protecting your portfolio right now with all this chaos?
Yeah, I alluded to it a bit last week, Steve, both Steves. And what I've been doing is because I am very concerned, not for people like us, but for people that are not participating in the type of economy, this K-shaped economy. That is my concern. And I hear it time and time again from members of the BCI community, which really has an international flavor to it. We have members from 80 countries outside of the United States. And I've been hearing their concerns regarding what you just alluded to as chaos. Now, Steve Flanagan has an optimistic point that, in several months, things are going to calm down, and we're all keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for that. But will that become a reality? And for that, we don't know. So here's what I've been doing. I've been selling defensive options. When you sell options, you're generating short-term income. You're leveraging stocks and exchange-traded funds to bring in income. That can be done in one of two ways. It can be done in a more aggressive, traditional way, where you're going to generate, let's say, 2 to 4% a month on your option income. Initially, anyway, for your starting point, weekly's 0.5% to 1%. That's the traditional. But I've been taking more defensive trades, where actually I'm getting similar premiums, but I'm selling in the money covered calls, which have an intrinsic value component to them, which gives me more protection to the downside. So what I'm doing is I'm taking away share appreciation potential on the upside and I'm trading it in for insurance policies on the downside. One other thing, Steve, with as far as selling put options, which is my second favorite strategy next to covered call writing, you could sell put options that are slightly out of the money, slightly lower than current market value, meaning you're agreeing to buy the shares at a slightly lower price than they're currently trading for. That's the traditional way of selling cash secured puts. But I've been going way lower than current market value, giving myself an awful lot of protection before those shares may in fact be put to me. Now, in return for getting this insurance policy with puts, I'm accepting lower premiums from my option return. So, again, I've been doing this now for most of 2025. I'm and by the way, I beat the market by about 6% last year doing that. So it was something like 22, 23% returns doing this particular strategy. And I'm continuing into this year until, in my mind, it crystallizes where we're headed. Right now, I just simply don't know.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring Steve Flanagan in here. I'm going to step out myself and let you guys kind of talk about it. But Steve, how are you positioning your? Because we've talked about this, about how the nuttiness in the markets. Obviously, Dr. Ellman is selling cash puts. What are you doing now in currencies now to protect yourself?
Well, I'm looking to get long. I'm trying to play against the prevailing trade, which has been selling dollars. I think Dr. Allen's idea is perfect in this, period of time where this chaos probably can only increase. I would sure love to see it decrease, but I think time is going to be the feature in that where it decreases. But right now, I'm looking to buy the dollar. I'm respecting the charts, technicals, the chaos. I'm looking at it going, you know what? Maybe now is the time to just step back. I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 tops in the dollar index at 99, 26, 23, 25, and again today at 25. I'm respecting the tops. I've exited my long dollar positions, and I am looking to buy the dip. I think that we will see that if we get above a 99.30, 40 level, watch the dollar accelerate again to the top side.
Yeah, and it's interesting as we broken 4,100 people now watching the show. They're tuning in to find out because they're nervous. They're really nervous. And when Alan, this K economy that we have now, people are scared. They don't know what to do. Tuning into Quasar Markets helps because we're telling them how to protect the portfolio, even if we don't have a complete understanding of what's going to happen tomorrow. But are we going to see a black swan event, and should we be protecting ourselves against a black swan event? Because there are so many things that can go wrong here. Ukraine, we talked about earlier, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, Japan. You can't stop the numbers here. Greenland, obviously. France is now saying that they'll protect Greenland right now. Is there something else that can pop up? Are you worried about another black swan event hitting the United States? Either one of you?
Well, one of the things that I have an advantage when selling options is that these are short-term investments. So typically over the years, I've been doing this for 30 years now, as you know, and I've been doing a lot of monthly options over those times. But with the explosion of interest in options, there are so many more securities now that have weekly options associated with them. So I'm taking on like a weekly requirement when I sell my options, a weekly contractual obligation. So I can maneuver from one stock to another, from one ETF to another. And if that's only the starting point, what stock am I going to use? And you could screen stocks that are elite performers from a fundamental perspective, sales and earnings growth, from a technical perspective, momentum, trend, things like that. And each week or each month, rescreen and use only those securities in your portfolio. What's your obligation? A weekly obligation or a monthly obligation? If things start getting worse, you could readjust. But I'm not taking any long-term obligation. And then, as I mentioned before, I'm taking on my option side a defensive posture. So I got protection by using only elite performers, and I got protection by using defensive option trades. And that's worked out quite well for me. If things start getting like they did in 2008, it took me a little too long, but I think it was September, October 2008, I turned to cash. So, again, because it's a short-term obligation, I'm not too worried, but I'm certainly keeping my eye on the news and what's going on with the market.
And I'm probably going to I hate to say this, but I'm gonna give it to you the last word, Steve Flanagan. Go. You had the last word on this. I'm probably gonna regret it, but here we go.
No, you won't, Steve. Dr. Allen, I thought you just, mirrored a currency trader right there, in talking about having your obligation, but being able to move to these other instruments. We do the same thing in currencies. Perhaps I don't like the dollar and I'm long the euro, but then suddenly I still like the euro, but the dollar is suddenly basing. So maybe what I do is I go, well, let me buy back my dollars and sell against the yen, and we move to a euro yen position. And then maybe we don't like the euro, and then we buy the sterling and sell the euro, and now we have a yen against sterling, a long sterling yen position. So we do the very same thing in utilizing different instruments, but trying to focus on a few of the pairs and moving back and forth. I like that, Steve. I do think, as a last word, we have a lot of news coming out this week. Tomorrow is a tremendous amount of economic data out of the UK and Europe. I want to watch that real carefully. I would watch the Greenland situation quickly subside into the horizon, because I think Denmark has already firmly answered it by asking for more NATO presence. And I think that that's a key to that one. But, chaos is one, tweet away from increasing this. And I think, as Dr. Allen has talked about, downside risk and covering that's probably the best strategies that you could have in today's market.
Yeah, and 5,000 people now watching here. I just want to say thank you from Quasar Markets, everybody out there. Alan, you had something to say?
No, I as the last word, I just want to say what an amazing resource you have, Steve, with Steve Flanagan coming on these shows. I just love being on the same stage with Steve. Great information.
Well, I'll tell you, we got some really cool things happening at Quasar Markets very soon, and we'll talk about that live here probably the next couple of days as we build out the side of the media side of it, as we grow this thing. We're now the fastest growing, and looks like probably the most watched financial talk show now out there. But I think what's cool about all of this is the quality of the people here, and we're not just self-professed economics. We've been in this game a long time, and I appreciate both of you very, very much, as not just as in your brains, but as your friendship as well through Quasar Markets. So here we go, guys. We got a lot going on, but for those of us here at Quasar Markets, thank you for watching. We'll tune in tomorrow as we talk about the next level of this market. So I'll see you tomorrow.